Hey everybody, Zach again, newtutorial.com, coming and making a video for you today. So we're at Sukkot. It's kind of calm out here in the camp today because most people are actually in town and getting supplies, getting ice, things like that before festivities kick off again tonight. And so what I wanted to just do a quick video on was tents. So you notice behind me, you got a number of tents behind me. A lot of them have tarps on them. So let me see, let's see, right there. Let me point to it. I'm looking at the camera. So like right there, you see a lot of these tents have tarps on them because most people, when they go to Sukkot, they buy these cheap Ozark Trail or other tents at places like Walmart, or there's a plane flying over right now. You can probably hear it. That's not normal. But places like Walmart, Academy Sports, Dick's Sporting Goods, some of these other outdoor stores, and they're just not very good 4-season tents. They're usually like 2-season or 3-season tents, if that, and not even that well. I mean, they're not meant for rain and maybe some adverse weather conditions that you might encounter. And so a lot of times what people do, people who have done this before, they understand if they can't afford a good tent, they go out and they buy the Ozark Trail tents or some of these other cheaper brands, and they put tarps over the top of them because they know they're gonna leak. So for people who are Sukkoting every year, this is something your family's doing. Camping is a great way to build family togetherness. There's all kinds of studies out there that talk about, you know, families that camp together, stay together. It just builds a lot of character within a family. And so I would urge you, to go camping, obviously for Sukkot, because it tells us to do that, but also to look in and investing about something like a tent like this. This is a Kodiak tent. This is the tent that we have, and we've been now using this for a couple years. It's a little bit more expensive. It's around $600–700 depending on where you buy it, but it's going to last for decades, and it's really well made. It's waterproof right out of the box, and it breathes really well, so you don't get condensation building up inside of the tent, during different temperature fluctuations. So it's a good tent, and it's going to last you a long time. These Ozark Trail tents that you see a lot of people who get, they last maybe 1 or 2 outings, and then they just collapse and they fall apart, or they get ripped, or the poles break, or the cheap little tent stakes that they give you, you have to go out and buy bigger tent stakes anyway because the ones they get, it's just they're a mess. And so so it's good to go out and try to find something that's, this side, I keep get confused, this side, the tent like that. Jamie's in there right now, you can see her, she's straightening up inside the tent, because we're going to take you in there in a minute and show you what it looks like inside there. But they last longer. It's just a better investment, and for people who want to camp every year for Sukkot and even other times during the year, you're going to be so much more happier with it. Cabela's also makes a really good tent. My in-laws have a tent. I'm going to switch the camera around real quick, and right there. That tent right there, I think it was like $300 is what my wife told me, and they've been using this now for about 5 years, and with no issues whatsoever. It's a true 4-season tent, okay? A true 4-season tent, and they make some really good tents at Cabela's. And so if you're interested and you don't want to spend something along the lines of a canvas tent, which is a little more high dollar, these tents are really good for maybe a beginner's investment. So check those out as well. All right, guys. Let's take you inside, and I'll show you what it looks like inside of our tent.
Come on inside. This is our Kodiak canvas tent. This is the 4th time we've used this tent. And I love this tent every single time we set it up. It's super easy, and then it's waterproof, completely waterproof. I've never had this tent leak ever, and we've used it in a lot of rain. It's so comfy inside. It has this really durable floor that is not like most tents, and you can actually sweep it, which makes me really happy. I'm not stepping on dirt and grass and mud and whatever else constantly. But there's so many things I really do like about this tent, but it is the durability that really sold me on it, as well as the windproofing, the rainproofing. It's a good 4-season tent, and that it will last forever. The other thing I really like is these windows. It has windows throughout the tent, but they're not like most tents that, you know, once you unzip it, you know, what do you do with the little flappy things? These are actually made to tuck inside. So you can zip it however much you want, all the way down, or like I normally do, just like halfway to let a little bit of air in, and then I can tuck it away. So all the windows are like that. You can unzip it however much you want. This window basically takes up this whole wall and it unzips all the way down. But what I will normally do, if it's really hot, and it is warmer today, yeah, I'll zip it all the way down. But normally it's just, you know, halfway. Still provides a little bit of a screen of privacy. You don't feel like everyone's looking in on you constantly. But I love that about the windows mostly. The other thing you notice about this tent is really bright inside. And they've taken different fabrics, different colors of canvas fabrics, and put them together. So you've got this dark on the side, but the whole top of it is covered with a very light light colored canvas fabric. And so you feel like the whole tent is a skylight, which really makes it bright in here. So you can actually feel like you're not in this, you know, cave when you're in the tent. So there's a few little tricks I've learned along the way of how to organize my tent to make it livable. I mean, we're spending as much as 2 weeks in this tent, so we do camp for a long period of time. This time I think it's going to be about 10 days we're going to be in here, which, you know, can be a long time when you're dealing with the tight quarters. So over here I have the boys, and they each have their own cot. And I'm a big, huge fan of cots because it gets everything up off the floor, and it's just so much nicer to be able to come in here and actually find something to sit down on, as well as giving room to store things under the bed. And I have all of the boys' clothes packed in these little totes. And I pack them in such a way that I line the shirts up. They can find all of their own stuff, and they function basically like drawers under the bed. So when we get to the location, I can just pull the totes out, take the lids off, slip them under the drawers. There's no unpacking, and they can always find their stuff. The other thing I've done, which I love this, every single year I use this in the tent, is my drying rack. You can see I've done some videos about my drying rack in the past. It's basically, you can see it, it's just two sides of an old crib that I had my dad put hinges on. And what this does for me is provide me a place to hang up coats and sweatshirts and towels, and I've got my clothes on hangers so I don't have to pack them away in a suitcase, more coats. And then, this is what I really love, it's a screen. So watch this. So imagine my boys in bed over here. You know, they're awake, maybe they're playing, maybe they're talking or whatever, but I'm over here and they can't see me. And you know, when you're a mom and you camp with boys, it's like, where do you find your privacy? So I'm getting dressed in the morning, I'm trying to, you know, I just tell them, stay over there, I'm getting dressed. And they're obedient, they know what to do, they're good. And then when I'm done, I can fold my screen away, and then that's a place to hang whatever I need to throughout the day. And if you have a kid that likes to fall out of bed, I scoot this all the way up against Caleb's bed. So with this support, you know, he can't push it down, and he's not going to fall out of bed because it's just like a railing on, you know, a toddler bed or whatever. He can't fall out of bed that way. So on this side, you see that I also have two cots, one for Zach and one for me. We have tried camping with a double mattress in here, but what has happened is because the sides are so sloped, to put a mattress in the middle, there was really no way to move around it. You know, I was kind of doing this, you know, trying to scoot around the bed. I just felt like it took up so much of the floor space, the usable floor space. So with the cots, I'm able to move them against the sides of the tent to give us some floor space to actually help us feel comfortable. This is a 8-person tent. I think the square footage is 160 square feet. It's 10 by 16. It's actually, I think, one of the smaller tents that I see out in our field camping right now. But I'm okay. I've been able to fit everything that I need in here, and one of the things that I absolutely need that makes camping at my comfort level is having my bucket. This is the composting, one of the composting buckets that's in rotation at our house. I always bring a bucket with us when we camp, and this is what we use inside the tent in the middle of the night. And my comfort level for camping that makes it possible for me is that I don't have to get up and walk to an outhouse or any other facility. If we're camping at a facility, I would still take my bucket because I don't want to exit my tent, get my boots on, everything that I need to do, find my flashlight, and walk to the facilities. This makes camping really nice for me because I can do everything that I need to do in my tent, and that's my comfort level. I think for women especially, and I've encountered a lot of different women that say they don't like camping, but what I will always encourage is that you find what your comfort level is and try to find something, try to find the gear that will meet that comfort level, and then you can go have fun with your family and they'll love you for it because Mom's out there camping and she's making this possible for us. I'm so grateful that I have learned to camp with my family because I'm creating such wonderful memories for my boys, and they love it. They love being out here camping with their friends.
So there you go, a little bit of a layout on how we have our tent and what kind of tent we use, and maybe gives you some ideas on some setting up for your tent when you have your Sukkot. All right guys, hope you're having a great Sukkot, hope you're having a great feast. See you next time on the homestead, and go home, read your Bible.